Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, dog. There's a dog here.
Hello, puppy.
Excuse me. Hold on. I gotta get the dog. Okay. Got the dog. Stay there.
Good morning.
I'm Pam.
I'm Derek.
And we're doing...
Just fine.
That said so good.
Oh.
21... Well...
Some of us know what we're doing.
21-day study. Renewal through COVID19. Which, as the world opens up, the more and more important this is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
We are also adding a little bit of an extra element this time around, which would be
Small group.
Woot.
Zoom.
Zoom.
Small group.
Zoom. Yeah.
Yes. Exclusive for this group.
Yes.
Let us know if you want in.
Yes. Do that. Okay? Trust me. Just if you are even considering it, this would be a good time to start considering we're 11 days into our 21 days.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this would be a great time to start. You can always decide, I don't really want to be in this group anymore, and leave.
You can.
We won't even get your address, phone number, email address. Nothing like that.
We won't stalk you.
I
There
didn't
are
say
laws that protect you.
I didn't say we wouldn't stalk them. I just said we weren't going to get their stuff from them. We can get it, just not from them.
I won't stalk you.
Is that all we have to say before we get started? Oh my goodness.
I think that's it.
That's it. Oh, the small groups on Mondays.
At 7.
At 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We're on day 11.
I just want to show you. Look at this book.
They can't see that.
They can see all the marks.
You can see that. They can't see that. Now they can see it. Sort of. Maybe. I don't know. We can't see whether or not this is blurry or not. But
You can see all the marks. We had a lot to say about this.
yes, we do. Do.
What's your why?
It's very dramatic.
Romans 12:11. Do not be slothful in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. That sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Pretty sure it just said, don't be lazy.
I mean, okay, first of all, let's start with the word slothful. This is how this whole thing, this is how all this started.
There's more to it.
Just to kind of, give him his to-dos, whatever. Whatever. Okay. Do's. Just do's, not to-dos. Just do's. Give him his just do's. Okay. So I was saying that it was slow, and he said slothful is lazy, and I said, well, it's slow and lazy. And then I said, okay, Google, define slothful.
Here's the definition of slothful: lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Checking that one off.
Hey, listen. Don't be like that.
I think I was 2 for 2 on this one. Pretty sure.
I doubt that.
I'm pretty sure. I was 2 for 2. But I digress.
All right. So, to expound upon the verse, we defined a few words, being slothful, zeal, fervent, and serve. Do not be lazy. Pursue your cause with enthusiasm. Have a passionate intensity in spirit. Perform duty and services for the Lord.
Yeah. When you break it down like that, it's less simple.
Well, listen, the Word of God is never simple. We need to talk.
So, I guess the question is begged to be asked. can you perform your duties in a non-enthusiastic, slothful way?
Yes.
There you go. You heard it here first. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. What does this tell you about God?
That he expects that if you take on his work, that you do it with excellence.
He expects enthusiasm and passion from you.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to just do it.
Yeah.
He wants you to do it with enthusiasm and passion. Right?
It's not a checkbox.
No. That would be a real issue for me, which I guess is kind of, what does this tell me about myself? That I need to re-examine my cause if I'm not passionate. So, an example that some may not agree with, but, and again, talk to your pastor and talk to God, because we're not the all-knowing here. But, my experience, I couldn't find anything. I'm more like an artsy kind of person, and I do love people, but just going and saying hello to everybody who walks through the door, even though I enjoyed seeing the people and meeting some of the people, I never was passionate about it, but it was one that I could find because I kept being told you need to serve somewhere. So it was like, okay, I tried the kids, and I love you kids. I couldn't do it. It was 15-year-old girls. Couldn't do it. That was tough. I'm telling you. Girls in church group are not a whole lot different than the girls in the high school. I'm just saying, because that's who they are. They're girls in high school, and they really need Jesus. But anyways. So I couldn't do it. Like, it wasn't even a matter of, it was just going through the motions. It was a matter of, I was irritated 10 minutes in. So to me, you can't serve a child well if you can't stand them. Okay. So I felt like that probably wasn't my place.
Yeah.
So I moved on to greeting. And like I said, I enjoyed meeting the people and everything, but it honestly and truly was just a checkbox. Like, okay, I did it. Okay, I served. Okay, I served. But it didn't take long at all before it started feeling like it was another duty that I had to do. It was another responsibility. And that is never how you're supposed to feel about about serving the church and serving God.
Yeah. If your heart's not it's especially in that role, you're supposed to be genuine and show genuine enthusiasm. Some people say fake it till you make it. I can typically, I mean, not always. I guess I don't know when I don't know, but I know for a fact when I do know and can pick up on ingenuine hospitality. So,
yeah,
I get that for sure. It's better not to place someone in that position than to continue into that.
And I would say, now, again, I don't know that everybody will agree with me on this. And I'm not saying that I am right about it for sure, but I feel like, for me personally, I never found that place in the church to serve. I just didn't. And anywhere I had served at this point would have been, honestly and truly, just to check a box because everybody else was telling me I needed to. Because, I wanted to do the right thing. So that was part of it. But even that's not a good reason. I mean, wanting to do the right thing versus actually doing the right thing can be two totally opposite things.
Yeah.
So not only was I wanting to do the right thing, but also I was being told by all the people around me, well, you need to serve somewhere. You need to serve somewhere. And so my thoughts were, this is the places the church has for me to serve. This is what I have to choose from. When it gets boiled down to the truth of the matter, yes, serving in the church is a great way to serve God, but is that the only way to serve God?
No.
Absolutely not. So, and I've tried a few other things. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of an artsy type person. So I've tried to mix, have paint, have a painting small group where we watch the service and just do our art or whatever, just hang out, do our art and watch the service online. That didn't work out. I wish it would have. It would have been a lot of fun. But, I'm just trying things and just consistently talking to God, which is probably how this came about. And I would have to say there are days I'm just like, I don't want to. Like, I'd rather go paint a picture. But I still feel passionate about this.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like God directed me here. And I enjoy messing with him. So when I can do it on video or whatever you call this, digital format for all to see, well, that's even better. But, yeah.
Yeah, and there are going to be seasons. I mean, this season may pass and something else may come along. The position you're in now may be something you've done for years, and then all of a sudden that position is no longer available or needed, or it's changed in such a way that you're no longer comfortable performing it.
Sorry,
So
I didn't understand.
our Google Home is haunted. Never mind, Google. And that seems to happen randomly. Anyway, she doesn't understand because
She's a machine.
yeah. Where was I?
She doesn't have a soul.
Yeah. So you may find yourself in a place where you're burned out. So if that's happening, you got to ask yourself, are you burned out physically, or are you burned out mentally or spiritually or emotionally, or maybe you just need a weekend off? I recommend taking scheduled days off from whatever you're doing. Obviously, you don't want to do it every week, but if you start to feel burned out, I heard somebody, and again, I can't remember who said it, if you start to feel burned out, you probably already were. So you need to take mental wellness breaks and rejuvenate your body, and don't stay way too long. It's easy to walk away and then not walk back in after a long break. But yeah, just if you're physically tired, you got to take a break. Doesn't mean you'll never be physically tired though. Sometimes when we're at 180, it'll go till 9:30, and then there's pick up, clean up, and then sometimes you walk out of there at 10. Sometimes if it's a big event, it's a 10:30 night, and then
180 being the youth group, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. But and then if you got to get up at 4 the next morning, that going in. So count the cost, and if you can't do it, we'll let them know, and they'll work with you. But
So obviously we're saying if you're burnt out doing something, you need to take a break or find something else to do. But almost always you're going to feel some sort of burnout at some point, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stop doing what you're doing.
Right.
First thing I would say is re-examine your why you're doing it. What are you passionate about that drew you to this in the first place? And talk to God about it. Take some time off. That means take a weekend off, take the month off, whatever you need to do. But because it is also your responsibility, make sure that that's covered. Make sure you're not leaving them high and dry, right? So say you're you're not going to stick with this. You're just about done, right? So let them know that. And if they don't have someone to cover that place, start helping them find somebody to cover that place.
Yeah. Treat it like a job in that aspect. Give them a couple weeks notice. And unless you're sick or there's an emergency, don't decide on the day of that you're going to take a break.
Yeah. They depend on you.
Yeah. They need you a lot. They need you. Yeah.
And just like, this is the same as a job. Any job you have, you can get burnout. Any job you have, you're going to have some burnout at some point. But to what extent? And is it something where you can take a break or reevaluate, or maybe even just take a different position in that,
Yeah.
And just always try to keep your mind on the fact that you do need to serve. But is this the best place for you to serve?
Right.
Like I said, serving with the kids wasn't great for me, and it certainly was not good for them. Because I was doing nothing for them.
Yeah.
I really wasn't. I was doing nothing for them. I wanted everything in the world just to be done with the day every time I'm sorry, but it's just true.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not for everybody.
It's not. I mean, there was a lot of things to it. First of all the kids were looking at me and stage fright. And then we were supposed to pray with everybody. Afraid to pray in front of people. And then supposed to be leading the girls who were rolling their eyes at me the whole time. So yes, this was not a good place for me.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, I did not feel bad. Well, I mean, I did in a way, because I know it's hard to find people to really stick with the teens. But I did not feel bad because I knew that's not where I needed to be. And I knew I was not doing them any good or myself any good. So, you know that, especially when you really do some self-examination and then pray with God and say, this is how I'm feeling. You tell me, you lead me somewhere. Let me hear what you want me to do. And because I can promise you God didn't want me there either.
Yeah.
God didn't hire me for that position. No, he did not.
Yeah. When I started doing it, at least the first year was the wrong motive that I had. It took a year before things kind of settled in, but then there was these layers of motives that kind of started to get shed away after a while, and I find that the more genuine my intentions became, the less busy and stressed I became with it. And I took on a lot of duties, but as the ingenuine motive became, first of all, aware to me, wasn't aware that that I had an ulterior motive in the back of my mind, I guess. You can have a goal that becomes an idol. And I guess that's what happened. So as that became revealed, and my intentionality changed, and my walk with God grew, I let go of a lot of those duties that had my hands in a lot of places, but no excellence in any of them. So if you find yourself spread too thin, ask yourself, are my motives right? Even if it's out of a helpful, there's no one else to do this. No, there is someone else to do it, and there won't be someone else to do it if you fill the position, because you filled it, and now they don't need someone else, they think,
Right.
because you've committed to do these things, and then you feel obligated, and you stay in it way too long. And yeah, long story short, do one thing and do it well.
And I mean, there's obviously two lessons there that he was talking about. So the first one being that he stayed in it. He didn't let it go, but he did start becoming burnt out.
Yeah.
Well, so what did he do? He stopped, reevaluated, realized what was going on, and let go of those things that were really mostly there to impress.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. He stayed in it, but also he didn't continue trying to impress. God is never going to be impressed by you.
No.
So if you're trying to impress, it isn't God you're trying to impress.
Yeah.
God's never going to be impressed by you. People kind of waver on that. I mean, they can be impressed with you 1 minute for doing that, and the next minute they're annoyed by you for doing that. So, don't try to impress people, especially when it comes to the church. That's,
That's exactly the kind of thing that turns people away.
Yeah.
So.
And I guarantee you, working with kids can see whether you're genuine or not.
Yeah.
Within minutes. And they just can. They're just like, this person didn't even like us. I'm sorry, you're right. And I can't really say that. I would say there was one girl in there that my heart went out to, like, immediately. Real strange girl, just definitely did not fit in, was off by herself a lot, said weird things, reminded me a lot of myself. So, my heart really went out to her. But the thing was, she didn't really want somebody's heart to go out to her.
Yeah.
She wanted to be that strange girl that nobody really liked and nobody really had anything to do with.
Yeah.
So she kind of would just bounce from person to person, letting them show this compassion. And I think maybe that's when I really just switched and was like, you know what? I'm doing no one good here.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I'm sorry, I got to go.
But there is a place for everyone somewhere, and you will find it. But that's that knock, seek. There's our clock. There you go. That's that knock, seek, ask, and you will receive. Find.
It's funny. As you said, there's that knock, and then the clock went off. You should have just left it at that.
Dun, dun, dun!
Should be like, there's that knock. Ding, ding. That would have been amazing.
Awesome. I missed the moment, though.
Had you just not said anything?
I'll own that. I'll own that. That's what I do.
You really should let me write your script. I'm
take responsibility for my mishaps.
True that. Okay. We have just like...
We went on a tangent.
We have ad-libbed so much right now. Okay. How would this change my life if I took it seriously?
I think it's evident.
Okay. So what I wrote here is I would complete more tasks with excellence. So if I took this seriously, because it's not just talking about, because we've talked about before that everything you do is to be done unto God, right? So, you're supposed to do that with everything. Serving, obviously, is a very direct, yes, I'm doing this for God, but I kind of think that goes everywhere. Like making a cup of coffee for my husband sometimes. It's really easy. He just likes coffee in his cup. But, I tried really hard to make a pour over coffee last week.
She did a good job. I liked it. I liked it.
It was awful.
It was really strong. And I liked it.
It was really strong. I poured it out.
Little dabble do ya. In the morning, it's great, though. I like strong. Anyway.
Yeah, anyways. But I tried really hard. Ground the beans, and I did the whole boiling the water, and I poured it, all this stuff for my husband.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you truly love your spouse and you understand the connection between your marriage and God, when you do things for your spouse, when you do it with passion and compassion, you are showing what it means to do something for God.
Yeah. And even if I didn't like the coffee, I would have appreciated the gesture. So,
right.
Yeah.
Even though you did like the nasty old coffee.
I did like it.
It tasted like tar.
Which, in and of itself, is a lesson. Sometimes you perform a task to God and you think it's not that great, but you don't know how much God enjoyed your heart.
Back here it says some of the points to ponder. It says our economic system, by its very nature, rewards what you accomplish, not why you accomplish it. Have you ever received a raise for having a great attitude about a project you failed to finish?
Yeah.
Nope. Let's say I did not. I'm pretty sure most of you out there have not had that happen.
Yeah.
If you have, I want to hear about it.
Me too. That's a good job.
Right. The other problem with this rise and grind mindset is that it naturally carries over onto how we serve Jesus and his church. Our hyper-productive, overloaded, never slow down mentality tells us it doesn't matter why I'm serving Jesus, so as long as I can check that box when others ask me if I serve at the church. But it was never meant to be like this.
Yeah. And I think everyone who serves has been there and done that. I think they found themselves in some way just going through the motions, and that's a dangerous place to be. Just going through the motions. You can You can be somewhere and even have a heart in it, but when it's not going to go where you thought it was going to go, then there's this evaluation that goes, okay, am I still passionate about this? Because the goals I had in mind, they're not going to happen. So then you get to weigh, well, why did I take on the task in the first place? And get to evaluate your intentions, your motives. And sometimes those revelations are the gateway for a transition into something else. Doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have been there. Your heart was right, and now elements and circumstance and I don't know what the word I'm looking for, corporation of the church has made decisions that change the entire structure. Well, your role was necessary, and now maybe it isn't. So, yeah.
And I would also like to point out, though, I mean, our church, I guess, pretty much every sermon, not all of them, but pretty much every sermon has mentioned if you would like to serve at the church, or if you would like to get in a small group, or what's your next move, which next move is the kind of the idea behind that is to begin to serve, begin to get into small groups and those kinds of things. Do not allow this kind of conversation to be your excuse not to try to serve. Because even though I am not serving at the church, once again, I don't even know that if that's the right answer, but I did try. And as you pointed out, it may just be a bridge to something else. And there was I think it was in the last study we talked about this, but I was serving as a greeter when God started speaking to me about prayer. I was serving as a greeter when the first person walked past me that God said, pray for them right now. And I did not. And so I continued to search after God on that, because I knew God had been telling me, you're over here all by yourself. This woman and her mom just walked through the door all by themselves. It's just the three of you. Pray for her right now. And I didn't do it. I continued to seek after God, saying, God, I was in California at this point, on a Cincy event trip. And I said, God, please give me that chance again. Please, let me know as, in the moment as much as I did in that moment. But let me, give me a chance to obey you. So instead of in my little corner at my church that I knew very well, with just the three of us, ended up being, I prayed for a girl in the line getting coffee, because I heard her 2 people back talking about her mother and how worried she was. So I prayed for her, and we're actually friends on Facebook. I don't know if you're on this or not. But anyways, if you are, say hi. And then I ended up praying for someone who we considered Cincy famous, with a line of people like going out the door waiting to say hi to her and get their photo op with her, right? So God said, all right, but I meant to level you up. I wanted you to start here simply, but you didn't. But you're asking for me to continue this, so that's what I'm doing. So I still have issues with praying, but it's getting better. But all of that to be said, that I kept seeking after God. I was still serving God. And all that started from, being a greeter. So just because you're not finding something that you're passionate about right now, doesn't mean you shouldn't start somewhere. You really should. You should start somewhere. And in your church really is a good place to start. I tried to start with the kids. That wasn't working, obviously. So I moved on to something else. It wasn't like I just gave up, right? So you need to keep seeking. You need to try. If none of it sounds like something you ever want to do it anyway. If it sounds like something you don't want to do, but hey, I can do this, I just can't find anything that I want to do. But this I know I can do, start there. Because chances are you're going to meet a lot of other people. You're going to talk with a lot of other people. And as long as you're still praying and still searching and seeking after God, doors are going to open up. You're going to find your place. I'm still looking, but I feel like this is probably a pretty good start. And I feel like everything has been a stepping stone to something else.
Yeah. You'll develop skills or experiences that those will come into whatever you take on later.
Well, I'm working with the kids. I mostly chose that because that's what he chose. Because he's my security blanket. And so I started out working there because I was working with him. And eventually I was like, what's more important to me right now? So it was important for me to spread my own wings and get out on my own.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways that did liberate my position there. I felt an obligation to stay right with her a lot, which in a way was unintentionally, but
Yeah.
it was a hindrance to being able to communicate with the kids. And I didn't even want to be with the kids I was with initially. That's a funny story, I'll tell you another time. But I got the kids I prayed not to get, and best thing for me, really. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Is what you do important? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But activity isn't everything. A biblical vision for work involves both practicality and passion, doing and feeling.
Yeah.
Do you have this boiling spirit Paul talks about? And I talked a little bit earlier about that, about fervent actually meaning boiling. Do you have a tendency to prioritize the doing over the feeling? I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
That's just how it's ingrained in us, right? I mean, we're constantly told just because you don't feel like it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And that's true for the most part. You gotta remember, like, going to work every day. No one's saying if you don't feel like it, don't go. You know, you have to be responsible. But there's a difference between that and finding a way to change that mindset over to where you're doing it for God.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you can do that, you can start saying, okay, what do I need to do to change this? Because if you're there and you know you're there, and that's just all there is to it, you need to become passionate about it if you're not already. So what do you need to do to become passionate about it? How can you bring both of these together? Just kind of like what we were talking about.
Our neighbors must be doing some construction. Shame on them. Right in the middle of our video.
Right?
Shame on them.
Okay, this is the prayer to pray. This is just supposed to lead you in a line of thought. You need to pray your own prayer and get with God, just you and God, and just do what you need to do to make this a personal relationship with God. Ignore the pounding; it'll pass.
If you can just look at it as a parable, just keep knocking, and the door will open.
Okay. Father, open my eyes and allow me to see how I'm doing in this area of work and service. I want to have a boiling spirit like Paul talks about, but I need your help. Father, grant me the passion your son had while serving here on this earth. I deeply desire it. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right. God, thank you for the time that you've given us again to reflect and to read and to learn, to grow. God, I pray for people watching this, people listening to this, that you'd help them to find their passion. If they already have, God, I pray that you would strengthen that position. I pray for those who are looking for where and what to do. God, I pray that you would open doors for them that they hadn't thought of. I pray that as they take steps of faith, that those pathways would become very clear. I pray for those who, like me, have blinded motives, that you would reveal those things so that they can make the right decisions. And I pray that that everyone that is in service now, God, that you would just protect them in those things that they're doing, God. We ask you these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All righty. We'll see you in the morning.
In
again.
the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.